Hi, it's Adam from realitymanifestation.com. In this video, I'm going to go through how to rewrite your subconscious beliefs permanently by changing your identity. Have you ever found that you've changed a habit, a way that you felt about yourself or a situation, to then find yourself, even after just a few days, reverting back to the old behaviour, habit, thought or emotion that you've changed before, or the belief that you thought you had changed as well? This could even be that you've given up smoking for several months, after a traumatic experience or for a strong reason why that made you decide to quit, and then to only start reverting back after the newfound belief just seemed to have reverted back, or for a new reason you started smoking again. Now, the reason for this is that we have three different levels of a belief, with the first level being on a logical level. So basically, you have a logical understanding that makes you believe whether something's true or not, or what's the best plan of action based on logic, that it makes sense to you. But let me ask you this: how often do we take action based on knowing if something's the right course of action to take, or it's the best thing for us to do? Such as potentially giving up smoking, reducing how much we drink, or to exercise more, to eat healthier. How often, just knowing this, because most of us are aware of the benefits of eating or exercising healthier and more often, but how often do we do it simply from just a logical understanding? And this is because our subconscious mind pulls and dictates our behaviour much more than we're consciously aware, or what our conscious mind does. And our emotions, which is linked up within our nervous system, takes action and pulls us towards certain actions based through emotion, which comes from associations that we have on a emotional level that's linked up into our nervous system to what something will mean whether we take a certain action or not, which quite often may be irrational, but nonetheless, this has a much more powerful impact on our behaviour. Which leads on to the second level of belief, as a emotional level. So how this differs from a level 1 logical belief is that not only do you understand it on a logical level, but you also feel it emotionally. You emotionally feel that it's the right thing to do or not to do and to avoid. Let's go back to the example of using a smoker. Someone may have been wanting to quit smoking for many years, but then they have an emotional, traumatic experience, for example, of being told they may have only so many years to live, or their daughter or son says, "Daddy, Mummy, I wish that you would quit smoking because I want to see you at my wedding when I grow older," or something that hits them on an emotional level. So the reason this is so powerful, because this touches them on any subconscious level, which is where our mind will either pull us towards or make us avoid. So now in this example, the smoker's not just knowing logically that they should give up smoking, but they also emotionally feel that they should do as well. So now the reason why even a level 2 emotional belief is not necessarily permanent is because what's an even deeper, more powerful belief, which is a level 3 belief, which is on a identity level. And the reason this is so powerful, and this is a quote from Tony Robbins, the most powerful force in the human psyche is people's need for their words and their actions to stay consistent with their identity. We all have 6 needs, and one of them is a need for certainty, and the basis of that need is knowing that we can either avoid pain or that we can gain pleasure. It's a survival mechanism. I'm not going to go through the 6 human needs now, as I've already covered this in a previous video that I'll leave in the description box below. But what's important to understand within this context, these are needs, these aren't wants or desires. In our nervous system, another way of looking at it, is aspects of our mind is constantly driving and directing our behaviour to meet these needs. So if you have an identity of that I'm a smoker, and you go to try and quit smoking and to stop smoking, you're sabotaging and trying to fight and go away from this base need of your need for certainty. So your nervous system is always going to pull you towards smoking again, as this is linked up within your nervous system with survival. Even though on a logical level this can sound quite irrational, unfortunately many of the reasons why we do or don't do certain behaviours or actions usually is. This is why it's vitally important and very helpful to understand the mechanics of our minds and how they work. So carrying on with this same example, for someone who's wanting to give up smoking, but they're wanting to do it permanently, to make it a level 3 identity level, they have to become a non-smoker, so it's part of their identity. They're not someone who's a smoker who's giving up, they're not someone who's a smoker who knows and feels like they should give up, but they don't even consider it, because their identity is someone who doesn't smoke. Just to give another quick example before I go through practically how to shift your identity and to create level 3 permanent changes with your beliefs on a subconscious level. As I've mentioned previously, your identity will push or pull you towards certain actions. So for example, someone who is an athlete or identifies themselves as an athlete will feel agitated if they're not able to exercise for a certain duration of time, which will vary from individual to individual. But now if you take the complete opposite of someone who identifies themselves as someone who is overweight and unathletic, feel agitated just from the thought of exercise. Now when it comes to understanding your identity, it's important to realise and understand that the way you identify yourself or how you view yourself is just a belief, like any other. It's just the difference is how you identify and view yourself. If you want to learn more about what a belief is and how to change a belief, I'll also leave a video on how to do this and what describes what a belief is in more detail in the description box below. Just to give a brief description now, a belief is just a feeling of certainty that something is true. And this is the same for how we identify ourselves. It's just a feeling of certainty of how we feel certain that we are the way that we believe that we are, which quite often can create lacking limitations. So now how to apply this practically and to shift your beliefs. You want to write down who you want to be. You want to become consciously aware and design consciously who you want to be and why you want to become this version of yourself. So now you may want to pause the video as I'm about to ask you some questions that will help you reflect and think on who is it that you want to be and who do you want to become. So pause the video for a moment and either get a pen and paper or anything suitable so you can start writing this down. Make sure that you write this down, as this is something you definitely don't want to do without seeing it clearly laid out in front of you. The first question being, who are you? A very simple question, really think on this one. Who are you? The next question, who aren't you? Who are you not? So this is basically who you don't want to be. So really take a moment to reflect on these first two questions, as these are likely the most important. What are your most important beliefs? Who are you in your relationships? What are you made for? Or another way of asking this, what is your purpose for being here? Overall in your life, are you optimistic or pessimistic? These are just a few examples of plenty of other questions you could reflect on or be asked when designing your identity. I'm going to leave some more examples in the description box below. But take these examples and keep reflecting and asking yourself in different areas of your life who you are and how you turn up and show up into those different situations and scenarios. Once you've gotten clear and written down who your new identity is, so who this new version of yourself is, who you're going to become, what you can do then to expand upon this is start visualizing becoming this person, taking the actions, feeling the emotions that this new identity would be like. And this will start to become real on a subconscious level. And then what you want to do as well as this is start embodying the state or the triad of this new identity. For those of you who are unfamiliar of what I mean when I'm describing your state or the triad, it's basically the emotional state, how we're feeling moment to moment, which to just give a quick description now of what it's made up of, which I'll also leave a link in the description box below, is made up of our physiology, so how we're moving our body, such as our breathing, our posture, which changes our biochemistry, our patterns of focus, so what we're focusing on, the meaning we're attaching to a situation, and our language, so the words that we're using, and our tonality, and how we're speaking to ourselves internally. So if you start to create a habit or a pattern of embodying the state of this new identity you've designed and just written down, eventually this identity will become who you are, as it will become a habit and a pattern, and you'll automatically embody this identity on a subconscious level, and it'll be linked up in your nervous system, so you'll no longer be having to try and battle with yourself or trying to change your actions or behaviours or your beliefs, as they'd already be changed on the deepest level 3 level of a shift in identity. I hope you found this video useful. If you could like, and if you haven't already, if you could also subscribe, as this lets us know what kind of videos that you're wanting us to make more of. And if you could also share this with anyone who's either struggling to change your habit or belief that you think would find this video useful. And if you could also comment down below what habit or belief you're going to shift yourself on a level 3 identity level. I hope you found this video useful, and I shall see you soon.